Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 makes of 2024. I recently posted this video where I quickly shared with you everything that I made in 2024, both sewing projects and knitting projects, and I tried them all on and I shared all of the patterns and everything like that. So if you want to see everything that I made, go ahead and check that video out first. But today I'm going to share with you my top 10. So I've decided to include 5 sewing projects and 5 knitting projects, and I'm going to go through them with you today, give a little bit of details about each one, and share why they're in my top 10. If you're new to my channel, my name's Rebecca. I love making videos about sewing, knitting, slow fashion, creating a sustainable, long-lasting handmade wardrobe. So if those are interests of yours as well, please do consider hitting the subscribe button below. And let's go ahead and get into my top 10 makes of 2024. These are in no particular order, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about each one and hopefully give you some inspiration if you're looking for some project ideas for the new year. So the first item on my top 10 list of 2024 makes I'm actually wearing. This is the Lakes Pullover, which is a knitting pattern by Ozetta. I knit this up in Patton's Classic Wool Worsted in the navy color. And I love this sweater so much. There are a few reasons why it made my top 10 list. One, I love the construction. I love the saddle shoulders, the folded crew neck collar, the oversized fit. I have actually knit this sweater before, and the first time I knit it, I knit my size according to my body measurements on Ozetta's size chart, which I believe put me at a small. And for this sweater, I knit a large. So I went up 2 sizes. I wanted to make sure I had plenty of positive ease, which I do. It's nice and long, and I love this so much. It feels like a big, cozy, oversized sweatshirt, but it's wool, it's soft, it's super warm, and it got so much wear in 2024. In part, I think it's because of the relaxed oversized fit and the ease of layering. I think the navy color goes really well with a lot of the items in my wardrobe. It's really oversized and comfortable, but it does still fit under my coats. And yeah, I love this sweater so much. I highly rate the yarn and the pattern. And this got multiple times a week wears since I made it in early 2024. So definitely a solid place in my top 10 makes. The next item on my top 10 makes of 2024 is actually a bit of a 2-for-1 because I made it twice, and that is the Heroin Jeans pattern by Merchant & Mills. I'm actually wearing them today with my navy sweater. I have my indigo blue pair on. As I said, I made 2 pairs. So the first pair that I made was in a raw, dark navy indigo blue denim, and the second pair was in a lighter ecru denim. The indigo, I think, were a 12 ounce and the ecru a 13. So both really solid, structured but relaxed pants, which is something I found that I really like. I like a structured, heavier weight denim in a more relaxed fit. I've definitely made my share of high-waisted, fitted, like really well-fitted jeans, and I love those too. But in 2024, I really wanted to have relaxed, comfortable, easy to wear pants. And so, like I said, I made 2 pairs. I love them so much. I did a little bit of research on reviews of the pattern before I made it, and I found that a lot of people actually sized down in order to get a more fitted fit. And I chose to make the recommended size for my measurements based off the Merchant & Mills chart, which put me at a UK 10. I made that exact size without any modification. I wanted the relaxed fit, and that's what I got. I also kept the super long inseam, which allows you to have that generous folded cuff at the bottom of the pant leg. I think that's a really cool style. I love it aesthetically, and I think the extra weight at the bottom of the jeans helps them to hang in a really nice way. So yes, the Merchant & Mills Heroin Jeans, both pairs, definitely make my top 10 list. Highly recommend that pattern too. Next up, I wanted to share the Closet Cord Jenna Shirt. Now again, this is a pattern that I ended up making more than one of, but I will narrow it down this time for you guys to the top of my makes. So I made my first version in like an Oxford cotton shirting, which is really, really nice. And then I made a few other versions in linen, a black and a light blue. I also tried the cropped view in a white cotton. And I'm going to say that my favorite and my most worn of 2024 is this beautiful light blue linen version. I made the recommended size, which for me was a small, and I do find that it has a really nice, relaxed, generous fit, which is really comfortable to wear. It gives it a casual style, and this light blue linen is so soft and lovely. I believe it's a 5.5 ounce. I purchased it from Beaten Linen's closing sale, so they were shutting down and they had all of their extra fabrics on sale at a really highly discounted price, and so I picked up some of this sky blue. I think it's beautiful. It's really soft and breezy. Again, with the navy, I think that blue fits really well into my wardrobe. I think it suits my coloring, and this light blue, sky blue color, I just wore it so much in 2024. So that's my third make of my top 10. Next up, we have another knitting project. So this one was a little bit of an experiment for me that I'm so glad that I took or made, because it was really successful and I got so much wear out of it in 2024. And that is the Champagne Cardigan by Petite Knit. And the pattern itself is very classic. It's a raglan cardigan with a folded button band, and the cardigan and the pattern itself, I would not say are experimental for my style. It's a really classic design. What made it experimental for me is that I chose to knit it up in this really punchy red color. So it's a cooler red. It's not an orangey red. It definitely leans more towards the blue side of reds, but it is still a really punchy red. It's kind of a cranberry color, and I love it so much. I was a little bit nervous as to whether it would suit me or if I would wear it. I think both aspects of that ended up being really successful, because I do think it suits me and I got a ton of wear out of it. I got the yarn from Hobby, so I think it's the Friends wool worsted. It's really, really soft. It was affordable. I found the pattern to be really easy to follow, and despite being a cardigan which is knitted flat, because of the worsted weight yarn, it knit up really quickly. And I also found that the folded button band, while it was a bit tedious and I hadn't done that before, it's probably the cleanest button band that I've knit to date. It has a really clean professional finish, and I'm just so pleased with the finished garment. I enjoyed knitting it. I love the color. It's so much fun to add a punchy layer into my outfits, and it definitely makes me want to experiment more with red in my wardrobe. The next item in my top 10, I believe we're at number 4, is going to be a pair of Frey pants, which is a pattern by Emily Lightly. I have made this pattern in multiple iterations, the shorts, the wide leg, the tapered leg, in different fabrics, and I will say that the majority of the fabrics I have made this pants pattern out of have been really soft and flexible, so things like cotton or linen. And for this pair, the pair that I actually put in my top 10, I used a cotton twill. So it's not super heavy. It's not like denim, but it is heavier than linen and has more structure. And I really love that. I love that the structure of the fabric really highlights that slightly tapered leg barrel shape. I love that it holds those front pleats really well, and the slash pockets look really clean. The overall structure and silhouette is more maintained with a slightly heavier weight fabric, and I'm so pleased by that. They're super comfortable with the elastic waistband. I love these pants so much, and I think that they are really successful both in a breezy flowy linen, but also in a more structured fabric. I think that this worked out really well, and I'll probably make more Frey pants in a more structured fabric just because I love the pleats being so defined, and as I said, that silhouette maintaining its shape. So I made the size 4 in the tapered leg view here. The cotton twill was from Fashion Fabrics Club, and yes, I think these are highly successful. It was also fun to add another color of pants into my wardrobe. I have a lot of denim, and so I'm really pleased with this kind of olivey green cotton twill pair. Next up, a bit of a diversion from the garments, but something that I am so proud of. I feel so accomplished, and that is my very first quilt. So in 2024, I finally got around to sewing up my first quilt. I had been amassing all of these about 3-inch squares of fabric scraps of linen from garments that I have made over the years, and I had this huge pile of squares, and I knew I needed to sew them all together, so that's exactly what I did in 2024. I made a patchwork quilt, and it sits nicely atop my queen mattress. It doesn't go over the sides. It's not necessarily queen sized, but it is nice and generous, and it works really well at the end of the bed or on the back of the couch. It's super warm. I used cotton batting and a cotton fabric on the back, and as I said, the majority of the little squares that assemble the quilt top are linen or linen blend. A couple of them I think were cotton linen blends. So all of the fabrics are really breathable, but the quilt itself has a nice weight to it, and I love that all of the colors are from garments that I have made, and they're all, I have memories of each garment that I made from each of the fabric scraps, so it's a really personal thing. I feel really accomplished that I sewed and quilted it myself on my domestic machine, and yeah, definitely a top 10 of 2024. Next up, another knitting project that was also a little bit experimental that turned out very well, if I do say so myself, and that is the Darling Jadore Essential Sweater. Now, this is a sweater that I have knit up before, true to pattern with yarn and sizing, but this time I decided instead of the light DK weight yarn recommended for the pattern to use a worsted weight. So I used the Lion brand fisherman's wool yarn in the natural brown color. I didn't go up or down a size on the chart because I knew I wanted an oversized fit. So I knit the raglan body true to pattern with the worsted weight yarn, and then I just made the cuffs and the ribbing at the bottom a little bit longer, but the main change that I made was to adjust the neckline. So the Essential Sweater has, as I said, raglan shaping, but the neckline is a folded crew neck, very similar to this Lake's pullover that I'm wearing, where you knit up and fold it down and kind of attach it, and it creates this folded neckline. So instead of doing that, I picked up stitches at the neckline and just knit straight up. I wanted to have kind of a mock neck fit, and so I knit up about the same amount as what they recommended before folding over, to be honest, and then I just bound off. And I'm really pleased with the result. I think it's a nice mock neck fit. It's oversized. A raglan is super simple and quick to construct. And I didn't have an easy brown pullover sweater in my wardrobe. It's incredibly versatile, similar to this navy one. They've both been in heavy rotation, and I would definitely recommend that pattern to a beginner, and feel free to experiment with yarn and yarn weight. I had a lot of success. Next up, an item that had been on my wish list for quite a while. I had considered purchasing and ultimately decided I can make that for myself, and that is a lightweight denim shirt. I was sort of eyeing men's shirts, kind of oversized denim layering pieces, and so I ended up choosing the Modern Sewing Company Unisex shirt as the pattern. And my size, according to my measurements on that chart, put me at a small, I believe, or maybe it was even an extra small, maybe. And I ended up making the extra large. So I went up several sizes on the chart, and I sewed it up in a lovely, I believe, 7-ounce lightweight denim shirting. And I love the result so much. It's big, it's soft. I've washed it and worn it quite a bit, so it really has softened into a nice, comfortable denim layering piece, which is exactly what I wanted. I'm really happy that I went up a few sizes so that I can layer it over outfits. As I said, I have lots of denim bottoms, so it's really fun to have a denim top that I can experiment with layering with those as well. I love a denim on denim look. And yeah, the pattern is really great. I have made it for myself in a small before. I've made versions for my partner in other sizes, so I think that it truly is a successful unisex pattern, and definitely one that I would recommend if you're looking for kind of an oversized, relaxed menswear looking fit for yourself, or if you want to make one for someone in your life. I think it's a really great pattern. The last two are both knitting makes. not intentional, just where we ended up. So the first one that I will share was another one of those projects that I just felt really accomplished when I finished. And so I would say that these top 10 they're on the list because they're successful makes that got a lot of wear, but also in part because I felt like I gained a new skill. I leveled up. I challenged myself and kind of accomplished a goal, or, as I said, ended up creating something that I had been formerly intimidated by, right? So this one is an all-over textured slipover, and it's the Ingrid Slipover by Petite knit. Now, before this, I had never done textured knitwear or followed a texture pattern on a chart. Definitely had never done all over texture, and so I thought a slipover would be a great place to start for that because you're not doing sleeves. It felt like a good entry point, and I think it turned out really, really well. Again, I used the fisherman's wool this time in their natural colorway, which is kind of like an oatmeal-y tan color. And I was surprised by how, once I got started, once I had done that initial like figuring out how to read the chart, and I think once I had done the first one or two sections of the pattern, I was absolutely hooked. It felt like so much fun to get through a section of the pattern and then get to go to a new section of texture. And it actually knit up really quickly because each time I sat down to work on it, I was like, okay, I'm going to get through this chunk or like this section of the pattern. So it was a lot of fun to knit. I felt motivated to work on it. It was challenging, but not so much that I felt like I didn't want to pick it up. It was an approachable amount of challenge. And I'm really pleased with the result. I think it looks really professional and it looks more complex to create than it was, So it's actually intrigued me a little bit about things like cables and color work, because if this was that approachable, maybe those will be too. Last up on my top 10 list of 2024, as I said, it's another knitting project, and that is the All Good Dress by Knitonomy. Now, this is a long kind of midi or maxi, depending on how long you knit it, t-shirt dress. So it's got a relaxed, oversized fit. I love the modern silhouette. It's simple but elegant. T-shirt dresses never really go out of style, and I knit mine up in black, so even more of a classic. I think if you're knitting a dress with a single strand of fingering weight yarn, as you are with this one, you really want to be sure you do it in a color that you're going to wear for a long time. So I went for black, which is obviously a classic neutral, and I knit it up in Cascade 220 fingering. I was a little bit intimidated by how long this would take, and it did take a while, but not as long as I had feared. Once you do the t-shirt shaping for the neck and the sleeves, you're essentially doing a long tube of stockinette. And so it was actually really relaxing to sit and knit and, meditative. You didn't have to think too much after you got through the t-shirt shaping. And I really love the result. It's super soft and warm, and it feels casual while still being a beautiful hand knit dress. I mean, how many people can say that they knit a dress, right? It's really cool. And I also think this pattern would be really successful if you just cropped it and made it into a t-shirt. So definitely one to check out if you're thinking of making a t-shirt, or if you want a long stockinette tube of a project. Sometimes that is exactly what we need on our needles. So those are my top 10 makes of 2024. I think that all of them were fun to create, ended up being successful, often worn pieces. They taught me new skills, and I think all of them elevated my handmade wardrobe and elevated my personal style as well. So I would definitely recommend these patterns to you if you are looking for something to make in the new year. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you're all doing really well and that you're feeling refreshed and excited for the new year ahead. And yeah, I look forward to chatting with you very soon in the next one. Bye.